Hello, and welcome to Food Safety for Wash Pack Facilities, a training series brought to you by the CCE Cornell Vegetable Program. Implementing food safety practices in wash pack facilities is critical for ensuring that foodborne pathogens are not introduced or spread as produce is sorted, graded, washed, and packed. This is Caitlin Tucker, Program Assistant for the Cornell Vegetable Program. Throughout this series, I will walk you through principles of food safety, the ideal wash pack facility layout, post-harvest water management, cleaning and sanitizing, and tips for cleaning larger washing equipment. Because food safety is a company-wide responsibility, we invite all farm employees to participate in this training. Here are some highlights from Part 1, Principles of Food Safety. Bacteria, viruses, and parasites can cause foodborne illness. Workers, animals, water, soil amendments, tools, surfaces, and equipment can all serve as sources of contamination on the farm. Worker health and hygiene is critical for ensuring food safety. Farms should have policies on clothing, footwear, jewelry, glove wearing, illness, and injuries. Hand washing can go a long way to stop the spread of contamination. Workers who are ill or injured can also spread contamination. Let's begin Part 2, the ideal wash pack facility. Objectives for Part 2 include introduce the 5 principles of hygienic design, highlight the importance of standard operating procedures, or SOPs, review the concept of ergonomic design, provide examples of ideal wash pack layouts, and review other considerations for wash pack facilities, including lighting, drainage, flooring, walls, and pest management. Why focus on the wash pack facility? Wash pack lines are bottlenecks. All produce on the farm may need to go through the facility to be sorted, graded, washed, and packed. From a food safety standpoint, even the smallest amount of contamination can explode into a much bigger contamination event under the right conditions. Focusing on the wash pack facility can help to minimize risk of microbial contamination and reduce opportunities for cross-contamination. Organizing supplies, separating clean versus dirty areas, or modifying equipment can trim off minutes, if not hours, you spend in the wash pack line. This helps to free up your time, save you money, increase efficiency, and thoroughness. Modifying the facility to meet workers' needs can go a long way in reducing injuries and improving the overall health and safety of employees. And finally, being able to move produce faster through the wash pack line, reducing microbial contamination, and streamlining cleaning procedures can improve the overall quality of the produce. Before we dive into details, it's important to recognize that there is no one ideal wash pack facility. Facilities should be designed or modified to meet your farm's needs. That being said, facilities can be outdoors and open to the environment, or indoors and closed off to the environment. Every facility will have its own food safety risks that need to be addressed, but you should feel free to design your facility as you see fit. Whether your facility is indoors or outdoors, there are a few key things that should be present in all facilities. In general, the facility should have sufficient space for you and equipment to move around. It should be organized and uncluttered. It should have adequate light so you can effectively sort and wash produce and clean and sanitize equipment. It should allow you to clean and sanitize food contact surfaces. It should facilitate pest management. And finally, it should be intentionally designed. So let's talk about general design considerations. When we talk about intentional design or modification, there are 5 key principles of hygienic design that should help guide you through the process. These 5 principles were developed by Chris Callahan at the University of Vermont. Following these principles can help to minimize or eliminate harborage points. They are as follows. 1. Visible and reachable surfaces. 2. Smooth and cleanable surfaces. 3. No collection points. 4. Compatible materials. And 5. Preventing contamination. Let's review each principle in more depth. Number 1. Visible and reachable surfaces. If you cannot see a surface or reach a surface, it cannot be adequately maintained, cleaned, or sanitized. When purchasing new equipment, consider whether disassembly and reassembly will be easy. Use standard operating procedures to properly disassemble and reassemble equipment. Mirrors and flashlights are helpful to see into the depths of some wash pack equipment. Number 2. Smooth and cleanable. Porous or coarse surfaces can easily trap and accumulate soil, vegetable debris, and contaminants. Choose equipment or tables that have smooth surfaces to facilitate better cleaning. Choose equipment or surfaces that are smooth or have rounded welds. Choose continuous welds over intermittent welds. Continuous welds are those that span the entire length of the joint. Intermittent welds are those that appear tacked together. Number 3. No collection points. Soil or debris can collect in cracks, gaps, spaces, rough welds, corners, behind flaps, or in leg supports. If soil and debris can collect in these spaces, so can moisture. This can lead to corrosion of metal in equipment. Investigate collection points on equipment and throughout the facility in the off-season. Develop standard operating procedures that describe where to find these for cleaning. Fans and blowers can be used after cleaning and sanitizing to help promote quick and thorough drying. Number 4. Compatible materials. Match food contact materials to the type of produce being handled, or minimize the force of contact. Consider produce that can be easily bruised or damaged. Cleaners and sanitizers should be compatible with the equipment or food surfaces they are being used on. This is because some chemicals, like sanitizers, may be corrosive when applied to equipment. This could lead to significant wear and tear of metal surfaces over time. Number 5. Preventing contamination. Prevention is key. It is much better to be proactive about reducing contamination in the wash pack facility. You should always exclude animals from the facility. This may include birds, rats, mice, squirrels, insects, as well as cats or dogs. Consider which pest problems are predominant in your wash pack facility and optimize your pest management strategies to target those pests. This may include using rafter netting, hardware cloth, or setting traps. Remove coals and trash daily. This can help to reduce pests from coming into the facility. This will also help to reduce insect populations. Insects are capable of spreading contamination too. Keep items at least 6 inches away from walls. Many rodents like tight, hidden spaces. It's also very important that you pay attention to walls, ceilings, and floors when it comes to cleaning. In addition to the 5 principles of hygienic design, another feature you should consider is ergonomics. Ergonomic design involves designing the facility to meet the needs of the workers, rather than requiring workers to adapt to the facility layout. This can help significantly reduce repetitive strain from bending or leaning. Some things you might consider include the height of tables or wash pack equipment. If you are working with lighter items, the efficient work height is halfway between your wrist and elbow. For heavier items, work height should be slightly lower. Could some of your employees use step stools? Can some tasks be done while sitting? Employees spend a lot of time in the wash pack facility over the course of the season. Even small modifications can help to improve worker safety, health, and overall well-being. And now let's talk about overall layout. Here's one layout that's less than ideal. What issues do you see? Is this an efficient layout? Should the table for weighing and bagging be in the center of the facility, close to the washing stations? This may open up opportunities for contamination. Is there enough room for people and equipment to move around? Here are some examples of ideal wash pack layouts. Remember, there's no one right way to design your facility, and ideal may be unattainable, but here are some workflows that can better facilitate food safety. On the top left, we have a U-shaped design. There is a very clear unidirectional flow, from the produce coming from the field to being washed, dried, spun, packed, and loaded. This helps to reduce cross-contamination. Another option in the bottom left is a shared workstation design that may better facilitate multiple employees working in the facility. Again, there's a very clear unidirectional flow. But perhaps you require a more varied layout, such as the one on the right, that facilitates washing and packing of different types of crops, such as root crops and leafy greens. We still have a unidirectional flow that corresponds to the produce getting progressively cleaner. Here is another layout from Robert Haddad that includes additional components of a wash pack facility, including restrooms, pallet areas for dirty harvest bins, and clean harvest bins. But don't limit yourself to these designs. There are numerous designs out there. Take the time to review a few. Pick and choose the best features of each, and modify them to fit your wash pack needs. Here are some additional layout considerations to help prevent cross-contamination. Separate dirty versus clean, and wet versus dry. This can be done by using color-coded palettes or being intentional with the facility layout. Use color-coded tools and brushes for use on equipment versus floors versus coal bins and trash cans. Keep supplies close at hand so you don't have to trek across the room to get what you need. Be intentional in where you locate trash and coal bins. Have separate areas for tools, measuring sanitizers, and supplies. Locate first aid kits and eye wash stations in areas that make sense. Keep hoses off of floors, out of sinks, and tubs. Hoses can easily pick up or spread contamination if left on the ground to be walked upon, or if they sit in puddles of water. Now that we've talked about the big picture, let's review food safety considerations for other key features of wash pack facilities. Doorways. If possible, install thresholds. This can help to prevent water intrusion, as well as make it easier to move wheeled equipment, dollies, or carts. Keep doors closed whenever possible. Reduce dirt, dust, and heat loss with doorway curtains, but be mindful of the length. They should not brush against the floor. Consider all of the equipment and/or people that may pass through and brush up against the curtain. How will you clean them? How often will you clean them? Walls. If your facility has walls, wall paneling material is of concern. Avoid bare wood. It is impossible to sanitize. Strive for washable walls. Smooth surfaces make the task of cleaning up a whole lot easier. Allow for 6 inches of space between equipment, storage shelves, and other objects to deter pests and to allow for easier cleaning. Walls could be covered with a water-resistant paneling, such as fiberglass reinforced panels. These panels provide a smooth surface that is impermeable to water and easy to wash stuck material off of without ruining the surface. Lighting. Most repurposed barns and pack sheds are lacking in good lighting. You need to have enough light for workers to sort and cull easily, wash produce effectively, correctly read SOPs or labels on sanitizers or cleaners, and clean equipment at the end of the day. Light fixtures need to have bulbs covered in order to prevent any glass from dropping and shattering onto the produce. The fixtures should be positioned to give adequate light for workers and not cast shadows in the wrong places. Flooring. The biggest concern with flooring is standing water. Listeria has been found in standing water in wash pack houses. If equipment is rolled through these puddles or if workers walk through puddles, contamination can very easily be spread throughout the facility. It is important to be intentional with water movement. New flooring could have a pitch of 1/4 inch per foot, or 2%, to make for an easily drainable surface. You should also balance cleanability with functionality, meaning floors should be smooth enough to clean and easy for roll carts and equipment to move, but rough enough to provide traction to minimize slip hazards. Curbing or cove bases can be used to provide a smooth transition between the wall and the floor to allow for better cleanability. Carpet should be avoided. It is impossible to clean and sanitize due to all of the tiny harborage points for pathogens, soil, and debris. Mats can be beneficial for workers that are standing for long periods of time, but they can also trap moisture and debris and serve as harborage points for contamination if they are not routinely moved, cleaned, and sanitized. Indoor drainage. Proper drainage is a must. You should make sure your facility has enough drains to allow for quick drainage of water. They should be checked regularly to make sure they are in good working order so that backflooding does not occur. Make sure they are also cleaned regularly and sufficiently to prevent bacteria like Listeria from establishing. Floor squeegees are helpful to direct the flow of water if your floor is not sloped to facilitate drainage. But they also need to be cleaned frequently as well. Otherwise, you could be squeegeeing contamination across the facility. Circular drains are okay, if they can be cleaned out. Ideally, though, your facility would have trough or grate drains. These drains should be large enough so that you can take the grate off, shovel debris out, and sufficiently clean and sanitize. If your wash pack facility is located outside, you still need proper drainage. If possible, site the location on slightly sloping ground. Several inches of crushed gravel can allow water to drain down without pooling underfoot. Landscape fabric over bare ground can also be used as long as a gravel-filled furrow is in place. One problem with landscape fabric is that if the ground becomes compacted, water will have a difficult time percolating through. This will cause muddy spots to develop and seep upwards through the fabric. In addition to proper drainage, you also need to be aware of how wastewater can be discharged. What are the local and state regulations? Water could be discharged into grassy vegetative areas, away from surface water, ditches, and produce fields. Do not discharge into septic systems or storm drains. Do not discharge if the concentration of sanitizer in the water is higher than label directions. If sediments build up in wash water, do not dump into landfills, streams, or other waterways. Storage. Items that should be stored in wash pack facilities include harvesting tools and harvest containers, cleaning brushes, personal protective equipment, eye wash stations, first aid kits, sanitizers and detergents, thermometers, monitoring strips and measuring cups, and packing supplies. Items that should never be stored in wash pack facilities include pesticides, fertilizers, field tools, personal items, or non-food grade lubricants. Now let's focus in on some considerations for tables and equipment. Key features of tables include: they should be easy to clean. Surfaces should be smooth. Seams should be sealed. Use surfaces that are non-absorbent. They should be quick drying. It is also helpful if they are lightweight to facilitate moving, reinforced to support heavy bins and equipment, and modular. Wash or rinse tables. The purpose of a wash-rinse table is to remove excessive soil or plant debris. This ultimately helps to reduce interior cleanup. They can be located outside of the facility if you choose. Depending on the type of crop, this can be set up so this is the washing step. It may be possible for you to run sanitizer through an injection line. Foot pedal valves are an option that can be used for hands-free washing. Wherever this table is located, you need to have excellent drainage to move dirty water out and away from the wash pack area. Dirty tables. These tables should be used to keep things off of the floor but within reach, such as full harvest bins. It could also be used for sorting. This table should not be used for washing. The surface can be non-absorbent or not. Seams can be sealed or not, but they should be easy to clean. Pack tables. Screen tops can help facilitate drip drying of produce. Solid tops could be useful if you're using the table to fill boxes or containers. Make sure you have enough space for a scale, a clipboard for record keeping, and labeling. And finally, if possible, purchase or modify equipment or tables with wheels. Wheels can allow for easy movement for cleaning, rearranging the facility, etc., but make sure they have a locking mechanism. The last piece we'll cover is pest management. It is incredibly important that you keep animals out of the wash pack facility. If you recall from part 1, all animals can carry or spread foodborne pathogens, like E. coli or Salmonella. This includes rodents, birds, flies, and pets. Different animals have different reasons for being in the wash pack facility. Rodents may be looking for food, places to hide, or nest. Birds may be looking to build nests. Insects may be attracted to coal bins and garbage. And pets may just follow owners or be searching for food. Here are some tips for managing pests. Inspect all walls, doors, and windows for cracks, holes, or other spaces, and repair them. Deter birds from roosting with nets or spikes. Use window screens and keep doors closed whenever possible. Mow vegetation around the building frequently. Do not store things right up against the wall. Empty garbage and coal bins daily or as needed. Cover produce when leaving for lunch or breaks. Keep pets at home or outside. Use traps for mice or rats. And dump culls far away from the facility and field production. If you plan to use traps for managing mice or other rodents, here are some things you should consider. Keep pallets and other items 12 to 18 inches away from the walls. Place live traps for indoor management, but avoid using bait indoors because it could attract rodents inside. Never use poisons. There is a risk that produce may become contaminated with the poison. Place outdoor bait traps along the perimeter of the facility every 30 to 50 feet. And map where traps are and check them regularly. In summary, be intentional about facility design or modification. Consider the 5 principles of hygienic design, ergonomics, and layout. Adequate lighting, cleanability, organization, good drainage, and pest management are all important features of a wash pack facility. Rodents, birds, insects, and pets can introduce or spread contamination and should be kept out of the wash pack facility. Here are some resources to help you get started on designing or modifying your wash pack facility. Thank you for watching Part 2, the Ideal Wash Pack Facility. If you have any questions or would like clarification or help identifying resources, do not hesitate to reach out. You can reach Extension Specialist Robert Haddad via email at rgh26@cornell.edu or by phone at 585-739-4065. You can reach Program Assistant Caitlin Tucker at cv275@cornell.edu or by phone at 573-544-4783. If you would like to learn more about the Cornell Vegetable Program, visit cvp.cce.cornell.edu. Up next, Part 3, Post-Harvest Water Management.